All right, so now we're finishing this speech by the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and we'll begin the next one, which is very short but beautiful. And if you remember, the Rebbe said that in this week's Torah portion, it's talking about building the tabernacle. And it's a repetition of what we learned a couple of weeks ago, where it said the exact same details. So the Rebbe explains, and he brings from the Midrash that no, what we learned a few weeks ago was talking about God's commandment to Moses. That was the spiritual tabernacle, which was pure, which was given to Moshe in a pure place, an high place. And what we're talking about now in our two Torah portions is talking about the physical tabernacle in this world. What do you have to have both of them? Because, I mean, the main thing is the spiritual one, right? It says, no, the main thing is the physical one. God wants physical. And the main thing is the physical of the physical, to use the lowest things that could possibly be used, the minerals and plants and animals, to build the tabernacle, right? The ground was mineral, the boards were plant, the top of it was animal skins. And there was to use everything in the world to serve the Creator. That's what God wants. God wants us to see how important this physical world is. Again, I know I said it 1,000 times, but if Adam would not have eaten from the tree, there would be no such thing as heaven or hell. There would be no such thing as an afterlife. No one would die. This world would be permanent. I mean, as it is, nobody really dies. You know, the soul is eternal. The soul is eternal. But it would be manifested in this world, in the body. A soul alone can't do the commandments, can't do what God wants. This world, we can make God happy. We can do what God wants. And that's going to be eternal. Excuse me. How it's going to be, I don't know, but for sure it's going to be. Okay. So that's the main thing of the second tabernacle that he's talking about, namely what's mentioned in this 2 weeks Torah portion last week. The physical tabernacle in this physical world, to make this physical world reveal the essence of God here, even higher than in heaven. Oh, said the Rebbe, now we don't have the physical tabernacle. We will soon have the third temple. We will. But meanwhile, we have prayer. Prayer is in the place of the tabernacle. Prayer, elevation from below to above. That's what was in the tabernacle. They offered up offerings. Where it says, in prayer, we make 18 blessings. And the 18 blessings are connected to the tabernacle. Why? Because in this week's Torah portion, it says the word kasher tziva, like God commanded. And as the Jews did what God commanded, it says it 18 times. And that's the 18 blessings of the Shemona Esrei. Says the Rebbe, but if you count it, you see, and the Gemara also, and the Midrash takes note of this, that in fact it says 19 times. Kasher tzivo Hashem. 19, not 18. It says, no. 18 times it says kasher tziva to Betzalel and Ahaliav together. Betzalel and Ahaliav, they're the ones that made all the different instruments and the vessels and the tabernacle. And they're the ones that actually made it. Right? Everything that they made the show, the altar and the showbread and everything, they made it all themselves. Betzalel, he was from the tribe of Yehuda. Yehuda was the highest of the tribes. He went first. There was the most honorable of the tribe. Moshiach is going to come from Yehuda. The rulers of the Jewish people always came from the tribe of Yehuda. I mean, for the most part, they come from the Yehuda. And Ahaliav, he was from, so to speak, the lowest in the social rungs of the Jewish people. Ahaliav, he was the lowest. So, therefore, it says 19 times kasher tziva, but one of those times is missing Ahaliav. God said, everything was done kasher tziva, like God commanded. Who did it? Betzalel and Ahaliav did as God commanded. And one time it says, as God commanded to Betzalel alone. It says that we don't count. That we don't count. We don't have a blessing. Why not? It says, because we're talking about prayer. And the whole thing of prayer is to love every single Jew, even the lowest Jews. And believe me, some Jews can really get low, big time. There's some Jews that are really the lowest of the low, and these Jews we should also pray for. Huh? Jews we should also pray for. I mean, it's not a nice thing, but I'll give you a couple of examples of really low Jews. First of all, we have Yeravam ben Nevat. Yeravam ben Nevat was the highest of the high. He was chosen by God to be the king of the 10 tribes. And he caused everyone to sin and worship golden calves, made two of them. He said Moses only made, in the time of Moses, they only made one, but I'm making two, I'm better than them. And he bragged about it. And that was a Jew that really got low, right? Just a few years ago, not so long ago, there was this, it used to be crime in America. Crime. There used to be a big thing about the mobs and things like that. It used to be like, they say that the worst of them all, the most cruel, the cruelest of them all was a Jewish gang that came from Detroit, in fact, the Purple Gang. They said that Al Capone said that other gangs, we dealt in, whatever it is, drugs and things, and they stole the bread out of the working man's mouth. It's just the worst of the low. The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, who put him into jail, who wanted him to be killed? Jews. The Yitzhak, there was a special group of communists. The Jews loved communism. Jews, and they were the special murderers of other Jews. And to end it all up, in our generation, I just heard this the other day. A person came in, that's an expert. He said that the massacres of Tafresh Peitet, Tarpat, when the Arabs came and massacred Jews in Hebron, 1929, it was begun by communist Jews that came from Russia. They came from Russia, communist Jews that came from Russia, and they advised the Arabs to war against the Jews. Most of the Jews that were there in Hebron were religious Jews, to make a war against them. And to make matters even worse, that happened already, almost 100 years ago. And here we're talking, they said that nowadays also, that there's Jews that live in Arab cities here in Israel, and they go against the soldiers, Jews, communist Jews, far left, and they go and make trouble for the soldiers. That's what he told me. The guy is a professor. He came here yesterday, a professor, a brain surgeon as well. Is it true? Could be true. I mean, definitely could be true. Those Jews also we have to include in our prayers. We have to love them as well. We have to hope that they're going to come to their senses, and for sure they will. But we have to include them in the lowest of the low. Therefore, anytime it says Kasher Tziva and Ahaliav, who is the lowest, representing Gam, even lower than low. I mean, the Ahaliav certainly was not as low as these people. These were big sinners. We have to include them also. Therefore, we only say 18 blessings and not 19. Because the 19th time that says Kasher Tziva did not, Ahaliav wasn't there. He wasn't part of it. And we don't want to pray if we don't include Ahaliav. That's what the Rebbe says. I didn't say it. The Rebbe said. Und das is their Indian from the 18. This is the whole idea of the 18 blessings. The 18 blessings. This is the whole idea of the 18 blessings from the Shemona Esrei, corresponding to the 18 times that it says Kasher Tziva, which are in the Mishkan, which are in the Mishkan Sheni, which are in the physical tabernacle, where is mentioned also Aliyav. Why? Because the whole purpose of making Tzumach and Oich from the Inyani, because you must take also the lowest things and take the things of Ahaliyav, the lowest type of Jews, and making from that a Mishkan, a tabernacle. That's the goal. When a Zoe, Oich, in Tefillah, and also in prayer, we have now, you have to include also Ahaliyav, those people who are the lowest type of Jews. We have to include them. Azoi V, and we're not just praying that they should, be eliminated or something. We're praying that they should transform. Amalek is going to be transformed. Azoi V, like it says in the Mishkan, it was by means of their hoibening, their unter, and by means of elevating the lowest things up. Just like in the Mishkan, it was made by elevating the lowest things and especially the whole idea of the sacrifices in the Mishkan, where you took just animals and you made them holy, was das is Aina from the Ikr. This is one of the main services in the Mishkan and the tabernacle, where you tell a person, no, we Jews, we're waiting for the third temple to come so we can sacrifice animals. So all the animal lovers will say, well, I don't want any third temple. I'm going to make a protest. No way, you're not going to kill a sheep, a cow. No way, I'm not going to let, no, not just sheep and cow, also goats. Goats also, you kill goats also. Yeah, also birds also. But birds, you kill birds. What are you doing that for? This is barbaric. You say, yeah, you got a good point, but that's what God wants. He wants us to take the lowest barbaric things and elevate them to godliness so that they're not barbaric anymore. As given Speter, this comes from the Oidman Arab, after the Jews elevating things from below to above, as after that there's a reaction by God, and it draws down blessing from above to below. Shechanti betocham, I will dwell among you, reach nichuach, a pleasing smell. Unzeh, and the Jewish people, by elevating the Allahs and Amshachas, and by elevating the world and drawing down godliness, haben gebracht, they brought kasher tziva. That's like kasher, what God commanded. And the word tziva means commanded, but it also means connected. Tziva is the language of connection. This is what attaches and joins the creator to the creation. They're farbund from the Devorim Gashmin, connecting physical things with the essence, joining the creation with the creator. Huh? It's like they're joining a piano with music. The whole world is it's a vessel just waiting to be used. And that's the idea of the Holy Temple, to connect the creator with the creation. Unveil, and that's what the idea of prayer. Unveil der koach, and because the power to make this joining, kasher tziva, comes from Moses. Right? In our generation, it's the Rebbes of Chabad. In their bechinas from Moshe, Rabbeinu, and also the level of Moses, which is inside of every single Jew, the Jew which is in the Jew, with the Jew in you. Therefore, zokt kasher tziva Hashem et Moshe. Each one times it says that Betzalel and Eliyav, they did like God commanded Moses. Each time it says God commanded Moses. Because the whole thing of building the tabernacle and the whole thing of a Jew acting like a Jew, it comes from Moshe. There has to be a Lubavitcher Rebbe in every generation, or before the first Rebbe of Chabad, there were other great tzaddikim that they would make the Jews crazy for God. Azoy Oich also, and Mordechai was in the time of the Mordechai and Esther. Azoy Oich also in the whole idea of prayer, which to prayer corresponds to the sacrifices. B'shas is the halal, when there is an elevation in prayer, the mispalel, the person who's praying, Veis knows as darf sich, that he has to keinem nit wenden, nor zum Eibishter allein. He has to rely only on God alone. Durch them, by means of that, is mamshich, he draws down milamaila, all hamshachas, he draws down all of the blessings which he should. Rofei cholim, God heals the sick, he blesses the years. Und Allah hamshacha, and this elevation and descent brings about joining, and for eins again, unifying the person with godliness. Biz until the hextra yud, the highest unities, was das is siyum tefillah. That's what it ends up the prayers. It says Hashem yiborech et amo ba'shalom, that there will be peace, uniting the world with the creator of the world, the finite with the infinite will be revealed. That's what we want. That's why we want the Holy Temple, because it's a place, a building, and the building will reveal the holiness of the world. This is a composite of speeches from 1951 and 1958. Okay. Shall we stop? Shall we make a little break over here? No, let's continue. Here we go. Ready? you know what? I will. Well, let's take a little break here. Let's take a little tiny break over here.